This is the download for Sounds Profitable, your daily source for the essential news in the business of podcasting. I'm Gavin Gaddis. Here's what you need to know for today, Tuesday, October 7th. First up, ChatGPT adds Spotify integration. A new update to OpenAI's generative chatbot adds formal integrations with several apps. Once set up, users can ask the bot about real estate listings and be served official links from Zillow. Most notable for podcasting is Spotify's integration, as users can ask ChatGPT for music and podcast recommendations. As I mentioned yesterday regarding YouTube being the most scraped source for generative AI looking at videos, Spotify podcasters now have AI optimization to consider. With the right keywords and presentation, their podcast will grab ChatGPT's attention when looking for a given topic over potentially more generically presented podcasts. Next up, Call Her Daddy podcaster Alex Cooper opens Unwell ad agency. The new agency, dubbed Unwell Creative Agency, is nestled inside her overall media company, Unwell. It's positioned as a way for brands to connect with Cooper's Gen Z audience via live events, productions, and the Unwell podcast network. And Cooper took advantage of Cannes Lions this year to soft launch the agency to brands before going fully public, which landed the agency a multi-year creative and media assignment from Google involving both social media ads and Google activations at live events. Now, over the years, I've shared many an article about podcasting showing it has made it, with the fact that papers of record are covering podcasters. But this one's a particularly noteworthy incident, I argue. Not only is a podcaster getting covered in Wall Street Journal, she's getting coverage because her podcast network has grown to the size that their creative agency they spun up themselves got their first client in the form of Google. And for our final top story, marketers have a lot to worry about in the face of AI-induced shifts. An overview of Day 1 at Advertising Week New York. Over 20,000 attendees descended on a small slice of Manhattan to discuss the future of advertising. One running thread of conversation overheard is that of generative AI and what it means for marketing, both for the mechanics of how advertisers build and publish ads and for the content world they're advertising in. With the launch of Meta's Vibes feed and OpenAI's Sora tool, social media feeds are now being swamped with a new wave of feed clogging generated AI content. As a new Digiday piece specifically on the topic note, social media has shifted to the concept of synthetic scroll. The trick is, as is usually the case, the tech now exists before the safeguards that need to keep it in check. Convincing Rick and Morty animations and 3D animations of Pokemon characters are out there promoting cryptocurrencies. Almost convincing videos of Everest climbers are jumping to their deaths and going viral for it. I even got a Sora clip daring to ask what a Sopranos musical would look like. And to answer that question, because I got that video, it looks like a ripoff of Stephen Sondheim. As for the rest of the news, comedians Jenny Slate, Max Silvestri, and Gabe Liedman are hosting the podcast I Need You Guys, which is a joint production of SiriusXM and Smartless Media. Realm has signed a distribution and sales agreement with the podcast Decoding Taylor Swift. A new episode of Podcast Perspectives interviews Lex Friedman about the evolution of the podcast industry. Sports Social Podcast Network content will now be monetizable through Spotify as the network has joined the Spotify Partner Program. And Global has launched a video-first podcast production studio named Global Studios. That'll do it for today's episode. As usual, you can find the links to every single story I've talked about by clicking the link in today's show notes. Or if you want to find every link I've ever talked about, you can go to soundsprofitable.com, mouse over to the download section, and find every episode I've ever written. You can also subscribe to the newsletter to get it in your email inbox while you're there. The download is written and produced by myself, Tom Webster, and Brian Barletta. For Sounds Profitable, I'm Gavin Gaddis, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.